Round 4 of the 2025 Formula 1 season is on this weekend. The Bahrain Grand Prix, held at the Bahrain International Circuit in Sakhir, is hosting the 4th round. But are we going to get a 4th different winner from 4 different races? 5 in 5 if you include the sprint as well in China. Well, let's have a look at the 5 drivers I'm going to be paying special attention to this weekend. 5 drivers who very much need to perform, could perform, and everything in between. You know how we do here on the channel, guys. Let's dive in. So, if you would have seen my previous winners video, which I think will actually be out after this one in fairness, but when you do go and watch that, one of the interesting facts that I found is that McLaren has somehow never won around Bahrain. This is a track that over the years has seen some great results. Kimi Raikkonen had some good results here over the years. Hamilton and Alonso, I think, got some podiums here back in the day as well. But they've never won. They've never won around Bahrain. Can they put that right this weekend, though? Well, if anybody's going to do it, it's potentially going to be Lando Norris. Now, of course, Oscar Piastri, I would say, had probably a better weekend in Japan. He was very much looking the quicker of the 2 drivers, despite finishing down in P3. But Lando Norris, I believe, did beat Oscar Piastri here last year in the McLaren, albeit the McLaren was not very competitive at that point in the season. I think they got 6th and 8th or something like that, which was very much not what they got for the rest of the season. They were very much up in the podium places for most of the rest of the campaign. But I think Lando Norris very much has a point to prove. Like I said, he didn't do particularly well in Japan. He didn't really get close to Max Verstappen. So I feel like he's going to come out of the starting blocks very much running in this case. But let's see what happens, guys. It could well be Piastri. But yeah, McLaren never winning in Bahrain before. That's just a stat that just needs to go. I can't believe that's happened. But second driver I'm looking at is Charles Leclerc. Now, Leclerc, of course, has won here before. He won in 2022. He's also had some very good results here in 2019. I think he could have took the victory if it wasn't for a mechanical failure. He's very good around the Bahrain International Circuit, but just that one victory to his name. But I think he's got a good chance of doing a lot better this weekend. But the big caveat to that, the big if when it comes to that, is if they have the new floor. If Ferrari don't have their new floor, particularly around a track like Bahrain, where you really want to be running the car low, it's quite a flat circuit on the whole. There are some big inclines here and there, but nothing too huge like we were seeing in Japan, and it's a high-speed track as well, which is really going to hammer the floor throughout the Grand Prix distance. If they've got the new floor, I would say that Leclerc is, a strong bet for at least a podium. And of course, his teammate Sir Lewis Hamilton as well has more victories around Bahrain than anywhere else, but I don't think it's actually his best track really, despite his success. Although saying that, I'm going to highlight Max Verstappen now, someone who has won the last 2 Grand Prix here in 2023 and 2024. Can he do 3 on the bounce? Well, no one really gave him a chance, probably including himself in Japan, but he got a shock pole position and managed to hold on to it to get a 4th victory in a row and make history in Japan. I don't think anybody's ever won 3 Bahrain Grand Prix in a row. Could it be a sign? Well, we'll have to see. But even if he does get pole position, Max Verstappen, it's easier to overtake around Bahrain. So I think holding off the McLarens over a race distance, even if he does do a absolutely perfect qualifying lap, which I'm not ruling out, I think it'd be difficult. But I would expect Verstappen to be in the mix no matter what. It's very rare that he's not, in fairness. But will his teammate Yuki Tsunoda be in the mix? That's a big question, because at the end of the day, Tsunoda now has some experience in that RB21. He didn't do that well in Japan, but he did better than what Liam Lawson did. Bahrain is a track that he knows very well. Of course, we went pre-season testing here. He also had his debut here in 2021 as well, and in my opinion, he did very well. I think he went from the back of the grid, around P20, P18, something like that, to 9th place in an Alpha Tauri, which is now known as a Racing Bull, of course, which is not bad going at all. You'd expect that kind of result from them if they started up there in the top 10, let alone if they were at the back of the grid. So they did a very good job that weekend. That was, of course, 4 years ago. A lot has happened. That Red Bull is a very difficult car to drive. We know this, but I'm expecting more from Tsunoda. I think that, Max Verstappen's teammate will finally get some points in Formula 1 in 2025. Of course, in the Constructors' Championship, you might as well just label Red Bull as Max Verstappen right now, because he's the only guy who's got any points driving that car. But I do expect that to change this week, and I think Tsunoda will get a top 10, although challenging for a podium, top 5, probably a bit far-fetched, but we'll see what happens. But let's talk about Kimi Antonelli, now the holder of a few all-time records in Formula 1, including being the youngest driver to ever lead the race and also get get a fastest lap as well on top of that. Now, he can't become the youngest ever winner or podium standard in Formula 1. That record is now gone. If he does it this weekend, which it could happen, he could get a podium here, and I'll go into why very shortly, but he would technically be older than what Max Verstappen was when he managed it at the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix. Now, I think Antonelli's in for a good weekend here for a number of different reasons. Partly because I think Mercedes' car is probably going to suit the Bahrain International Circuit. It's quite a high-speed track, although it is meant to be quite warm, but by F1 standards, because it's at night, maybe it won't be the warmest, so I think that car will do quite well. On top of that as well, he does have experience here from testing, of course, on top of that as well. This isn't him going into a Grand Prix weekend having never driven this track in anger in person before, like he did for Japan, Australia and China, although he might have driven in F2 in Australia. But anyway, my point is he's driven this circuit in a Formula 1 car, which he'd never done before. So I think he's got a chance of a good result. I think he really can get at least a top 5 this weekend. But then again, saying that, his teammate George Russell's doing really well this year. I think he's doing a standout job too. And this is a track that he's done well at in the past, lest we forget the Sakhir Grand Prix, albeit at the oval track rather than the full layout. But if it wasn't for those punctures and those terrible pit stops, he would have actually won that race, in my opinion, back in 2020. But anyway, so I think it's going to be interesting. We got a top 4 that are really close to one another. McLaren not walking away with it, but can they stretch their legs and get a 1-2? They've never won around here before, like I said, so it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be interesting. But who are you picking for the victory this weekend in Bahrain, guys? Let us know your choices in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe to see much more content like this, and I'll put a video at the end of this one linking into Bahrain. I've done a few videos about Bahrain over the years, so yeah. See you soon, guys. Have a fantastic week ahead and have a great race weekend. Let's hope very much better Grand Prix than what we saw in Japan last week, and it's got to be better than that one, surely.